We're now on lesson 6, and we're going to draw floor slabs. A floor slab, like a building pad, is an architectural element in Revit that's defined by its boundary. So I could use the drawing that I made for the building pad as the outline of the floor slab. So how might I retrieve that? Select the building pad, and if I click on Edit Boundary, that'll invoke Sketch Edit mode again, and I can take these model lines and select them. And I'm simply going to copy them to the clipboard. I'm going to cancel out of this, and I'm going to go to level 1, and I'm going to draw as if I'm drawing a floor on level 1. So I'm going to click the floor tool, Sketch Edit, paste, aligned to current view. So those are the lines that I just selected. If I go to my 3D view, you'll see where they are. So I used the outline of my building pad that may or may not be the case. Usually there are going to be some adjustments of floors. If this were light wood construction, the outline of the floor would go to the edges of the core boundary of the walls. Or in this case, I'm not going to deeply into what the structure is, but I'm making certain assumptions, and for now I'm just assuming that it's sufficient to go not to some interior boundary that's within the walls, but out to the exterior face of the wall. Later we can adjust that if we need to. So we finish that. Go back to my 3D view, and it would be useful now to cut a section through the building. I'm going to cut one along parallel to Mount Auburn Street. So you go View, Section, and let's do this. And it just sort of senses just past the building there. So this part of the section from that wall before this indentation will be in section. This part of the drawing will be in elevation. Right click, go to View. There's a section. Notice that the grid lines become the bounds of the drawing, so I can extend and take these grid lines and move them. The grid lines are datum objects. They're not 3D elements themselves, but they are established relationships between 3D elements. That's our first building section view, section 1. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm sorry, I'm going to change the visibility settings for now to hide AutoCAD so we can see what we've drawn so far. So we have this deep depression in the earth, the floor slab, which is flush with top of level 1, and columns and perimeter columns Let's go to our 3D view and duplicate this view so that we can change the visibility settings of this view to turn off the AutoCAD and see what it is that we have going on. Let's rename this 3D No CAD number 1. So that's what we're looking at. I could also create a section box. Another useful thing you can do in 3D is use a section box to sort of reveal. I'm just going to duplicate this view and turn on section box for this view. Section creates a box around all of your CAD drawing. You can also align it to a section that you've drawn. This is a really cool feature of, almost said SketchUp, Reddit. Orient to a view. If you've drawn a section and you want this section, this 3D section box to align to that view, you can do that. Right? So it's still a 3D view, but now it's aligned with the section that we cut before. So that's kind of useful. I can select this floor slab, even though right now it's in it's showing me a section. Copy it to the clipboard. Incidentally, I modeled the floor as a generic 12-inch slab. We may need to make adjustments to that, obviously, if we discover that the floor thickness is different. Then I can paste aligned to selected levels after saving. Okay, so we already have one on level 1, so let's copy to level 2, 3, 4, and 5. Didn't mean for that parapet to. Well, actually, we could use one on sub C. Okay. So those slabs now, we have instances of those slabs on each of those floors. And if I go back to my default 3D, we can see that this is what we have so far. So it's very much the building structure. I'll do the same thing with the columns. So select all instance. Select all instances of those, visible in the view. I don't think I have the two 24-inch ones. Let's select those as well. 1, 2. Copy those to the clipboard. And we're going to paste align to levels 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, and 4, because 5 is the roof. So paste aligned to selected levels 2, 3, and 4. So this is very much the structure of the building so far. We don't have openings in the floor, and we haven't modeled any of the system in the middle, nor have we dealt with the perimeter walls yet, and we'll do that in our next lesson.